What's up, guys? If you all are looking to get into real estate, I want to help you guys clear up, should you become a realtor or do you actually want to become a real estate investor? Now, both sides actually play their part in the real estate market and provide a lot of value to sellers and buyers. But really, behind the things that you want to accomplish, which one should you do? Now, I will say, before you even take any of my advice or hear my opinions on this, you need to know what you want first, so that way you can kind of pick your side. Do you want time? Do you want financial freedom? Do you want ownership? Do you want partnership? Do you want collaboration? What do you want for your life? What does your future life look like? I think at that point, when you kind of know more about what you actually want for yourself, then I think you can make the smart decision, the wise decision about which particular side you want to be on. Now, this is my particular point of view as a current real estate investor that buys and sells houses, that holds rental properties, that has Airbnbs. So I'm going to give you my perspective on realtors versus real estate investors. Let's get into it. Number one is, what is the job of a realtor? So a realtor's job is to help a seller, that owns a house, sell a property for the most they can actually get it for. You see, the reason why a seller will go to a realtor is because the realtor has access to the MLS and could connect that seller to millions of potential buyers through this marketing tool called the multiple listing service. See, that realtor, the value of the realtor comes to, quote unquote, knowing the market, having the data in the MLS to be able to say, here's what I think fair market value is, and here's what I believe buyers want to see. So this is how I can help you. Now, realtors, when they help sellers sell their homes for the most amount of money possible, they collect a commission. Depending on what that realtor's fee and what you guys negotiate, sometimes that fee can be 2, 4, 5, 6. I've even seen 8% commission whenever they sell properties, depending on the value and whatever you guys agree to and negotiate. Now, realtors can also help buyers as well. So if a buyer wants to buy a property, a realtor can represent a buyer and help them go through the buying process of qualifying for the loan, finding the right property, negotiating the deal, and closing on it, doing all the necessary steps. And once again, that realtor essentially consults the buyer on the process and helps them through. And when the process is closed, when the buyer finally closes on a property, that realtor collects a commission. Once again, it's based about what they can negotiate, and I've seen it from 2 to 8%. Okay, depending on the kind of value that they're going to provide. So that is the realtor's stance on business. Okay, now an investor doesn't take a realtor approach at all. Okay, an investor is going to be buying for himself and is going to be selling for himself as well. Now, so instead of having 3 different pieces on the realtor side, where you have a seller, you have a realtor, and you have a buyer, 3 different roles, on the investor seat, he's going to be playing all 3 roles himself. So it's definitely a little bit more work. And so, meaning if there's a little bit more work, there's also a little bit more knowledge, which also makes it a little bit harder to actually be able to do successfully. Now, the biggest difference is how these 2 individuals get paid. So the realtor gets paid a commission, but the real estate investor gets paid in profits. Okay. Now, the commissions is kind of like a fixed rate, but the profits is like an unlimited number based off of the predictions that the investor has. So the investor is responsible for, buying and making the predictions on his purchase, meaning he needs to know what he's buying the property for. He needs to know what it could potentially sell for, if he improved the property or if he did not improve the property. And then he has to line item all of his expenses in order to make the proper projections. taxes, insurance, holding cost, money cost, and how long it's going to take him to execute his exit strategy. And then he looks at, this is how much profit I can make. In order for the real estate investor to be successful, all of those projections have to almost work out perfectly. And that's what makes it harder to be a real estate investor. Also, the investor takes on a lot more risk than the realtor does. So the realtor doesn't actually take on any risk at all because they're just helping someone else. If they sell, then hey, great, they get paid. If they don't, oh well, they move on to the next customer. If that realtor helps somebody buy, then hey, great, they buy, they get paid, and if not, oh well, they just move on to the next customer. The only risk they take is not being able to, is not closing, so they don't get paid. The real estate investor, the risk that they take is losing everything that they have. These properties that they buy, a lot of the times they're not just backed by the property. Sometimes they're backed by their personal credit, or they're backed by some other kind of collateral that they have, maybe their house or a car or funds that they're using out of their accounts. And if something goes wrong, they can lose the asset, their credit will get dinged, but also that collateral that they use might be affected by a judgment of some sort as well. So there's a lot more risk in the investor seat, but at the same time, with more risk, there's more potential that they could make more money quicker than the realtor. Now the next piece is time. So the realtor, when it comes to time-wise, the realtor is in control of their time. So just because they don't necessarily own the brokerage that they work for, doesn't necessarily mean that they have set amount of hours. Realtors definitely have to make sure that they're working enough to be able to put in the amount of effort to get the desired result. And since they're catering to sellers and buyers, they have to spend a lot of their time meeting new people who might potentially want to sell, or meeting new buyers who might want to buy. Now, the time frame for those two particular people wanting to sell or buy is going to be all up to them, and they kind of can't control that. So that's where the work comes in. The building the relationship, the follow-up, the closing, the presenting new ideas, and essentially making an offer to them and having them sign that particular offer. Now, when that realtor finally gets that client under contract, they're not making a contract to buy. They're making a contract that they're going to get paid off of the money that the seller and buyer receives. And so that'll take another initial amount of time to fulfill. So they have the time to get the client and also the time to actually fulfill on the sell or buy. And so from my experience with my own personal property, the first house I purchased, we worked with the realtor for about a year until we closed on our first property. For my second personal property, we worked with the realtor for 3 years, and then we closed on our second personal property. So for me, the average property that I purchased for my personal self took from 1 to 3 years for those two realtors to see results in commissions. Now, as a real estate investor, you get paid in a few different ways. You can get paid on the purchase, you can get paid while you hold the property, but you also can get paid while you sell. And so in order for you to find a property to purchase, on average for me, that the first deal, it took me about 60 days in order for me to close on my first deal. Now, I didn't get paid on my first deal, but the second deal, it took me another year for me to buy that second deal, and I didn't get paid. And then for my third deal, it only took me 30 days after my second deal, and I was able to finally get paid on that. My fourth and fifth and sixth deal came within that same month. I closed on my third deal, and I was able to get paid from all of those. So essentially, it could take you, on the real estate investor side of things, it can take you 60 days in order to do your first deal, but you're going to have to make sure that you analyze the deal correctly in order to make sure that you get paid. Now, I did this comparison before with one of my friends who's a realtor, Joel, and myself. So I'll leave that video right here so that way you guys can see. So in the short term, he finally made his first commission check within about 2 years of him getting his license. And I think he said it cost him about $2,500 to get his license. And his first realtor commission was, I want to say it was like $5,000 to $6,000. Now me, on the real estate investor side of things, I got my first deal in 60 days, but I didn't make real profit until about a year and 3 months after that. And I was able to make about $12,000 in profits after that. So essentially I was ahead of the race, with Joe. And as time progressed, Joe continued to make more money, but also I continued to make more money. My money increased faster because he had to continue to reach out to new clients to build rapport with them before he could close them. My financial success increased faster because I was my client, and essentially I got better with purchasing every time I made a new purchase. So with every purchase, I had a strategy that would work and work and work better and better every time. So I'm working on myself, not necessarily working on someone else's time. So every deal I do gets better. Every deal I'm making money, and it's happening quicker for me. So at one point, he's like stagnant. Joe, the realtor, is like stagnant and making consistent sales, but on mine, I'm making consistent sales because it's me who's buying, it's me who's selling. And overall, I can determine if I want to sell or if I want to buy. Like, how much work do I actually want to put in? So that's the time frame difference, is how much time do you want to put in order to get the result that you're looking for, but also how much risk do you want to take in order to get that particular result of the time you're looking to put in. So now the next category I want you to consider is, what is your long-term goal? In 10 years, what are you looking to accomplish? See, what I've realized is that my friends that are realtors, they do create this name for themselves, and they start building up a customer base. So referrals start to come in, and it makes it easier for them to get new customers. Okay. But also, as a real estate investor, you start to build up this name. They start calling you the rent man, or they start saying that you're the guy that saves people from the bank taking their houses. So we create this stream of referrals. The only difference is, while Joe has to create new customers, I'm the investor and I'm creating a portfolio. Okay. Now the portfolio not just pays me when I buy or when I sell, but it also pays me while I hold it. While we were doing that interview, one thing he mentioned to me is that's the leverage that I have over realtors. While I'm buying 1, 2, 3, 20, 60, 70, 100 houses, some of them I might sell, but 40, 60 of them I keep, and those are paying me. So whether if I get sick, or whether I want to go on a family reunion trip, or whether I just want to take the week off, I'm able to have some source of revenue that pays me while I'm not necessarily doing new activities. I'm able to get paid off of previous activities, okay, on top of the referrals. Now, he did mention that brokerages try to create incentive programs for them to get paid monthly, maybe like training new hires that come in and stuff like that. But he said it's almost pennies to dollars to what he actually could do if he actually helped the seller or helped the buyer sell a house. So he doesn't put a lot of his energy and effort into that. So I want you guys to determine, what is your overall goal? Okay. Once again, he makes $100,000 a year. Okay. And he felt like his potential, that he had potential to do more than $100,000 a year, being a realtor. I've made more than $100,000 a year ever since I first started doing this. And I could potentially make whatever I wanted to if I wanted to put more energy into it. And it's not that either one is better than the other, but on one side, I get sued a lot. He never gets sued. On this side, he has to spend a lot of time meeting new people to get new contacts and follow up with those people. And so it takes a lot more energy and effort, in order to make $100,000. For me, I can do 3 deals. I mean, really, last year I made $100,000. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I made $100,000 with 1 deal. So technically, if that's all I wanted to do, I could be done. You need to figure out, are you okay with the risk and the stress? Or do you want it to be more, stress-free, working with other people, and helping them? Or do you really just want to help yourself? So not that either one are better than each other, not that anyone is worse, but you need to take a real hard look at what do you want, so that way you can make the best, choice for yourself. Do you want to be a realtor or do you want to be an investor? We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.